Oh, good. Okay, well, that's not a good sign. Hey there, everybody. Let me try that again. Hey there, everybody. So, that is still terrible. Hey guys, thanks for coming back to another video. I want to show you something. So this is a barbecue grill that I salvaged from my father's barbecue island that he had in his backyard. And I put together a little stand for it. And this is the stand right here. Now, these bricks on the side here were supposed to be built up to put not a foundation, but a slab across the top for the grill to sit on, and some walls going around 3 sides of it, the sides and the back. I used some, I don't know, mortar? Yes, mortar in a tube. It didn't work, basically. It seemed like it never dried, at least not until it broke apart. Then it dried rather quickly. Just didn't hold up. So I thought that I could go ahead and create a cement slab to go on top of that. And then, I guess, sooner or later, build up the wall around it to surround the grill. So the cement slab would sit on top of that, and then the grill would sit on top of the cement slab. Okay, so now I'm going to have to try to talk silently, because even though I'm in my garage, my wife's office is just above it. She's doing some study right now, and I know that when I talk in the garage, it carries and comes through the floor. So I'm going to try to make this quick and do it quietly, which means you guys will probably have to turn up the sound, alright? Sorry about this, guys. What do we have going on here? Well, what we have here is the lumber that I'm going to use to make the walls to pour the cement in so I can get this slab created. An old repurposed piece of wood for this project. The lumber for the long sides and the lumber for the short sides. You'll notice one of these has a clamp on it and has obviously dried glue in there. Well, this is what happens when you aren't paying attention and you use the wrong cut mark. So I cut this piece too short. The best thing I could think of was to glue it together and hope for the best. Let's go ahead and loosen this up here. And okay, it's good enough. Good enough. Now, you know what? I'm not even going to use screws to put this together. I have a couple of these bar clamps. I'm going to take another one, and I'm just going to clamp the walls around, well, in the formation it's supposed to be, around this base here. After I do that, like I said, I am not going to use screws, so I'll just get some silicone. Silicone for kitchen and bath, actually. Fill in all the cracks, fill in the sides and all that wonderful jazz so nothing leaks out. And when it's all dried, I'm going to pour the concrete in. And this is what I'm going to use. A bag of Quikrete. And hopefully, hopefully everything works out the way it should. So I'm going to have to mix some water up with this bad boy and pour it into the mold and hope for the best. So I say all that to say that I'm bringing you guys in on the ride. So here we go. Let's give it a try, shall we? Okay, so there's a rather sizable gap, at least relatively sizable. I think it's sizable in that corner there. I'm going to attempt to seal up all of this along the edges there, along the bottom, especially in the larger gaps, with some silicone. Then when it all dries, provided that this actually does stop anything from leaking, I'll come back through and knock the whole thing apart, take off the clamps and knock it all apart. Wish me luck. Okay, so I am going to have to go back and clean it up, put on some gloves and kind of smush it down in certain areas. I noticed areas like where that knot is, there are some cracks. That knot right there. I don't want the, what is it? The concrete, the cement, whatever, the Quikrete to seep in there, and I don't want to lose any. Honestly, don't think I'm going to have enough to build up that high, but, well, we'll see. In any case, I'm going to go through, I'm going to fill in those areas, I'm going to smooth out that area. But I'm going to go ahead and stop recording here. Okay, everybody. This is day number 2 on this little project of mine. Pardon me if I'm yelling, but I've got the AC on and I don't know how it's going to affect the sound of this thing. Just got off work. Just here. Let me sip some coffee real quick. I'm a little tired. Okay, try this again. I just got off work and I'm on my way home. But I'm going to make a quick stop at the big box store, the hardware store. And I'm going to try to find some, well, I have the Quikrete bag, so I'm going to try to find that brand of coloring so that I'm not just creating a gray slab. I'm going to try to color it as close to what I already have for that barbecue pit as possible. But if I'm not able to do that, then I guess the next plan would be to use the high temperature spray paint. Same thing I used to spray paint the actual barbecue portion of that, or the grill. There we go. Come on now, don't get in front of me. There we go. Anywho, so that's the plan. Find some coloring, and if I can't find coloring, then I'm going to go ahead and buy some spray paint. Oh my goodness, I'm still tired apparently. And color it that way. Now, you saw me put together the mold, and it's holding together rather well. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the mold up off of the floor of my garage and put it on a couple wooden horses. I have 2 wooden horses I can use. Maybe because I do have a nice flat piece of wood, I can put the wood on top of the wooden horses and then the mold on top of that. But I want to do that so that I can pour this stuff in it. I only have about 10 minutes of working time with this. Apparently it sets in 20 minutes, so I don't have much time at all. But put it up on top of that, pour the stuff in there after I mix it real good, get a rubber mallet and kind of hit underneath it to try to work out all the air bubbles, and then go through and try to flatten it as best as I can. I don't think I have enough to fill up that mold so it comes to the top, so I can take a piece of wood and just kind of flatten it that way. So that's the plan. That's what I'm going to do when I get home. Here we go. Well guys, just to let you know, here we go. I'm going to be doing a little bit of voiceover for a good portion of the process here, especially the portion that's been sped up. So right here, of course, you see me pouring in the coloring, the dye for the cement, and you'll see me adding the water and then shaking it up, and then you'll see me pouring the Quikrete into the bucket. Just giving you a heads up, that's all. Just keep in mind, I'm not in the studio, so yeah. And like I said, I'm not in a studio, so you're going to be hearing a lot of a lot of noises from, I don't know, different things like doors closing, whatnot. I'm in my office, sitting in a really squeaky chair, and you're just not going to get a good experience audio-wise. No door to my office either, so.
Yep.
Okay, be back in a bit.
Okay. Yeah, getting there. Fairly. Far from mixed. Look at that. Let's see what we got going on here. Over here. Go everywhere. See what we get. Whoops.
Alright, so you just saw me add that extra water to the mix. That proved to be a big mistake. As I've said in the video, or I think I say this towards the end actually, this was a pretty good experience. I learned quite a bit from it. And I would do a lot of things differently. But I do also still have some questions, so if anybody watching this video can answer them in the comments below, that would be hugely helpful. Now my main question is this. As small as this is, I think it's about 3 feet, maybe 3.5 feet by just under 2 feet. Is rebar really necessary for something of that size? That's my first question. Is rebar necessary? Now I have rebar that I'm going to use when I redo this, but is it really necessary? Also, so I used some silicone. You guys saw that. I used the silicone to seal up everything so the water wouldn't escape. And now I'm wondering, does the water need to escape? Do I need to allow the water to drain out? I've also broken up some cinder blocks. I don't know if they're actually cinder blocks. They don't seem to be as porous as cinder blocks. They seem to be a tad bit more solid, and they're more, well, the same cinder blocks that you saw the base built out of for my barbecue. I had a bunch of those left over and some broken pieces, so I got some of those and broke them up. I don't know if you saw the paving stones that were stacked up on the side, but I broke up some of that too, thinking that I'd use them as the, I don't know, the base of the slab. Well, basically what I'm trying to get at is that necessary? Will that hurt the integrity of my slab, or should I use that? Will that do me some good? Should I use that? And should I use the rebar? A lot of questions. I don't know what to do with it. I really don't know what I'm doing, besides watching videos. So, if you'd be so kind, anybody out there who can enlighten me, I'd appreciate it. Put the answer in the comments down below. You see me here trying to smooth out the slab. Getting tongue-tied. Smooth out the slab. It seems to work. I mean, I don't have the official tool to do this, but it seems to work. But you'll notice as I'm smoothing it that the whole thing kind of shifts in the direction that I'm smoothing. That's what tells me that I'm using too much water. In any case, it's about time to end the voiceover. Here we go. Well, we're going to see what happens. So far, not bad. Morning, everybody. This is Kind of an overcast day. It's the middle of June. I might be a little late to work, but that's not what this video is about. This is about my Quikrete slab that I'm trying to build for my little barbecue. I'm going to call it a barbecue pit because that makes me feel, oh, very manly. In any case, I did go out and buy a second bag of Quikrete. I'm still not sure if I'm going to use it because the barbecue, the grill portion does actually rest on the stands that are currently there. And I really only have that slab there so that ashes don't fall. So, I'm thinking I might leave it as is. But the concern is still whether or not it's too thin to support its own weight when it's laying across that stand. So, that's what I'm up against right now. And that's what I'm going to try. I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. If it doesn't work out, hey, Quikrete is less than $6 a bag. I'll start over again. So, I'm just needing to find out whether it's dry. I don't know if it's dry or not. It's cold to the touch. It's been 3 days. This is day number 4. But I can't tell if it's dry. Anyway, that's it. Enough rambling from me. On to the next portion here. There it is. So yes, I wound up breaking it. And I think there were a number of things that I did wrong that caused this. And really, it was kind of fun to do this and to learn it. And, well, actually, let me stop rambling and let me talk about all the different things that I think I did wrong to cause this problem, okay? Okay, so, like I said, I think I know what I did wrong here. Number 1, I tried to use this to mix 50 pounds worth of Quikrete. It filled it up to, I think, a little more than half. I put the water in here. I wasn't able to mix it very well. I wound up using a post hole digger thing, a large, gigantic steel crowbar that I used to break up concrete, on old broken fence posts so I can get them out, just to get everything mixed up in there. I was getting worried, and I was afraid that I was going to lose time and it just wasn't mixing. And so that led me to the second problem, which was putting too much water into this. You're not supposed to use, according to the directions, you're not supposed to use more than 2.3 liters. I know I went well beyond that. So this might be a little wet still. Another reason, of course, is that I didn't have enough of this stuff to begin with. It feels pretty good though, but I didn't have enough of this stuff to begin with, which means I wouldn't have been able to use what I should have used, which was the rebar to go through it. You know, you get the rebar and you place it, and you have some going this way, and then you attach them with wire. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to put that first layer down and let it set for just a bit so that when you put the rebar in there, it doesn't sink down to the bottom. And then you pour the second layer on top so it's in the middle, and I didn't do that. And I guess finally I was impatient. I could have let this sit longer, and maybe it's a bit of impatience / ignorance, because I really don't know how long you're supposed to let this stuff sit and dry. Now I was thinking, well, it's Quikrete, 4 days should be long enough. But I lift this up, and when I first lifted it up, it felt damp. It doesn't feel damp now because the air has gotten underneath there, but when I first lifted it up, it felt damp. And really, the whole thing, especially the top of this surface, it still feels really cool to the touch, like it's not completely dry. So I don't think I let it sit and dry long enough. Now, would I have needed 2 bags to serve the purpose that I needed it for? Probably not. I don't think so, but I would have been worried as time went on that this would not hold up to weather conditions and different things like that, and it probably wouldn't have. I don't know. I'm not a mason. I don't know about concrete. Let's just say that. I don't know about concrete, so I don't know what it's going to do over time. Something this thin with too much water in it, obviously. So the next time, and I will do this again, I'm going to go ahead and post this video as is, as a failure. It's a fail video. I'm going to post it, and I'm going to do this again. And the next time, I'm going to use 2 bags of Quikrete. I'm going to mix them in my wheelbarrow. Okay, I'm going to put the mold back together again, and I'm going to leave it on the floor so that when I'm done mixing it, I can just take the wheelbarrow and just kind of bloop right into the mold. And I'm going to make sure that I have the rebar going through it so that it'll be stronger. Like I said, 2 bags. I'm not going to use as much coloring because this is, well, it's not as red, so that's good. It is more of a brownish tone, but I would have liked it to be lighter. Maybe half this tone, if that makes sense. Either way, I'm going to do this again. And the next time, I expect it to be a smashing success. I'm also going to make sure, so when I get this mold put together, I'm going to make sure that it comes up high enough so I can get some straight board or something and just kind of shimmy along the top, you know, shimmy and make that nice and even. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me on this. And please stay tuned for the next video where I do this, in my opinion, properly. Y'all take care. See you in the next one. Bye.